Ladies and gentlemen, aliens and cryptoids, welcome to the Dreadcast. As always, I'm your host, Dreadnought X, and after barely escaping the Bermuda Triangle, the Queen of Chaos returns, QueenBrie. How's it going, Brie?
Well, I will say that 2 weeks has made some changes. I'm tanner. I've got some tan lines. Gained about 2 inches on my waistline, and I am a year older, so it's been pretty good. How are you?
Sounds like a good vacation to me.
Uh-huh.
And now introducing from the NSA's Most Wanted list, hailing straight from Mount Shasta, it's the Naked Ladies
TSA.
Podcast. How's it going, ladies?
We're here.
We made it.
Yay!
We're great. We're excited. This is exciting.
Good.
Nice.
Yeah. So this is 2/4 right now. Half of us are here.
All right,
We're
so we
hoping
got-
to have, yeah,
Do we have half the sass, or we got full sass?
full sass.
All right.
Half the cast.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. I like those odds.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
I'm running this podcast tonight. No, I'm just kidding.
You're now the host. Go ahead.
This is
Don't worry, that's
Kristen
me too.
from the Naked Ladies Podcast from Maine.
And this is Amber from Indiana, also from the Naked Ladies Podcast.
Something we don't do.
Yeah.
We don't tell everybody where we're from each week.
You probably shouldn't. That's probably
Yeah.
Probably not a good idea to give people our exact address.
I already have a stalker.
Stalker.
really.
No joke.
From Twitch?
Yeah.
Wow.
That means
It's
you
weird.
made it. You made the
Clearly.
big time, baby.
My 5 viewers at one time. Mm-hmm. I have a stalker. It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, so if
And
you...
also kind of flattering.
Well, I'm also
Oh.
eating and stuffing my face.
Hey, you know what comes after the stalking, and then it comes the pictures in your DM, so you're halfway
All
there.
the dick pics and the Cheeto Puff.
You're halfway there to celebrity status.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh man, it's been a whirlwind of a week. So I was out last week, you guys. I apologize, but I was on a beach in Hawaii, and I was drinking Hawaiian punches and Mai Tais and having a good time. And here I am with my co-host this week, so it's good to be back.
Don't apologize. You didn't miss us. You're having fun.
Yeah, I was actually sorry.
I got no call in giving us an update on how things were going. It was radio silence for the past week.
I was actually, at the time you guys were podcasting, I was on a sailboat in Oahu on a booze cruise watching the sunset with my best friend. So that right there was amazing. When we were coming in from the cruise, we went out a ways and we coming back, and it was just thunderstorms right over Waikiki. It was really weird. It was just a weird night altogether. We ended up going to this place called Cuckoo Coconuts, and we call it Cuckoos, and there was a band playing, and we got hit on, and some weirdos were like looking at us, and we decided, screw it, we're going to take our makeup off and go home and order pizza. So that's what we did. So I had a legit excuse. I was on a sailboat in Hawaii.
So how much time did you spend on the boat compared to on the shore? 50-50 or?
Well, we were on the sailboat about 2.5 hours. And then we were on the shore for that event, maybe like an hour. But I mean, we were on the beach every day for the most part, the whole trip. And I was there for 6 days.
Sounds hot. Sounds warm.
It was amazing. We did hikes. We went to the Polynesian Cultural Center.
Oh, I love the Polynesian Cultural Center.
It was amazing. Well, Monday was my birthday, and that's where we were on my birthday. So we did the luau and the Ha Breath of Life show in the evening.
Mhm.
It was just like, it was perfect. It really was.
You didn't
like
say it right, though. Ha. That's what they say it through the whole show. It's really kind of funny.
It is kind of funny, but
Yeah.
I'm also
It's
half
beautiful.
lazy and getting kind of buzzed. It was like, I actually, the last 10, 15 minutes, like, I was like, I think I'm going to cry.
Yeah,
And
you
I'm
get all
just like,
teary.
and like, dance really is a powerful form of like communicate. Like, it was beautiful. I loved it.
So, preparing for your trip, how many times did you watch Moana?
Actually none, but I took my
Homework.
Disney Plus account to Hawaii, and I had a day, I think it was like that Friday night, my godkids and I watched Moana on the couch with the dogs. It was amazing.
Nice.
And it had booze. Unlimited booze.
Limited
For the
Sounds
kids.
great.
I did not fly home hungover though, which I'm glad that didn't happen. So
When we were there in February, we had hotel points, so we stayed at this gorgeous resort for 2 nights. And we were down by the...
who's fapping?
I don't know. What's happening?
Well, who's got their thing lit up when that's happening?
That's so bad. I'm such a perv when I get buzzed. this podcast is going to take a left turn real quick.
But we were down by the pool, and I ordered a Mai Tai, and I was like reading, and I could feel my eyes crossing as I was reading, and I was like, I think that drink was strong. And I was so hammered for like hours after, and we ended up recording, and I was like, I don't remember the recording or anything like that. It was Underground Bases. That's the one.
Oh man. So I actually, are you finished? Because like, I don't want to cut you off. Okay.
No, I'm done.
So we went to this place called Cuckoo Coconuts, and this was Thursday night when I got in, and my sister was like, "Hey, have a Mai Tai there for me." So I had a Mai Tai. I had a Mai Tai, and they must pour like really heavy out there because I had the one. We were there for an hour and maybe 15 minutes, and I stood up and I was like, "Holy shit! I need to sit back down. This isn't happening." Nope. So I was like, "Can I get some water, please?" And granted, we took an Uber, but I was like, "I am not walking out of here right now."
Uber in Hawaii?
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's a thing. I promise.
So,
I'm just thinking about the whole evening. Like, this random guy walked up to me and my best friend, like, "Hey, do you guys want to dance?" And he wasn't like super attractive or anything, but it was flattering. And I'm like, "No, I don't dance. I have 2 left feet. Not happening." And he I don't know, grabbed our hands to introduce himself, and
creepy.
I said, "Hey, I'm
touching
Brie.
here.
I'm kind of a germaphobe too, which is even weirder."
To wear your gloves.
I wish I had. And some sanitizer. And he kissed our hands, and I'm like,
Ew.
"Dude, you're creepy. Go away."
It's not the 70s here. 80s.
That's when we decided to grab the tab and take off. Had he not been around, we probably would have stayed longer. So it was a party foul.
As soon as he asked you to dance, you should have busted out your kids' Fortnite moves.
To start flossing or something.
Show them some of your good moves.
Oh man, that would have been hilarious. He probably would have been like, "What the fuck? Who is
Where's
this?
Where's this girl from? She's having a
And
sheezer or something."
And it was a cover band. They were playing 60s and 70s music too. I mean, I could have pulled it off, but damn.
Sounds like a good party.
Yeah.
60s and 70s. You want to drink and fall asleep.
It was. The drinks were cold. The weather was warm. I was in good company. It was a good trip.
So
Amazing.
why don't you tell the Dreadcast listeners here what your podcast is all about, The Naked Ladies.
Oh God!
Sure. How often do you get people hearing the name of your podcast and completely thinking it's about something else?
So many people's eyes just light right up, like, ooh.
Mine did. Mine did. I kid you not.
Dread's having the naked ladies on? What is he thinking? This is a family-friendly show.
Gross. Let's see. What don't we talk about? We don't talk about anything serious. We really bullshit a lot about conspiracy theories, aliens, ghosts, conspiracy theories.
That's the meat and potatoes.
That's the meat and
potatoes.
Pretty much anything that you bring up at work and everyone looks at you and is like, don't talk to her anymore. That's what we talk about.
She's the odd
That's
one.
incredibly accurate.
So, yeah, I mean, all the stuff that I guess I think of it as all the stuff that I want to talk about all the time, but that I really can't talk about most places with most people.
You don't want people judging you, so you just leave it all for the podcast.
Yeah. Right. How often can I bring up ghost sex at work?
What?
A lizard.
That's a thing?
Yeah, there's, succubus and incubus. That's
oh my gosh, Brie, you have no clue what's out there. The world is crazy.
It's mostly in Florida.
Dread was like, hey, the naked ladies are joining us in a couple weeks. And I'm like, I guess I'm podcasting naked. And he's like, whoa. This is professional here, Brie. And I'm like, well, what else am I supposed to take? I don't know.
Yeah.
And
yeah. We didn't really know what kind of podcast we were going to make when we started out. And so
you gotta do you, boo.
So this is what we do. And we do a little bit of true crime. We do that every once in a while. But really, the most fun are gross ER stories. That's really always fun.
Those are rough. The first couple episodes I heard those, I was like, oh, people are getting shoved up where? Oh.
Yeah. My husband came home and he was like, all right, I listened, but not for long. Because he was like, I was vomiting.
Oh, it was gross.
Wow.
Reading off top 10 lists of things shoved up certain places. Oh, man.
Yeah.
That was rough.
The best one, just so you know, the best one was where someone went into the ER and they had a plant growing out of their vagina. And it turned out they had shoved a potato up there as birth control.
What?
I'm getting memories from that night I listened to the podcast.
Are you? What?
Yeah. And they forgot about it. Forgot about it.
Some dude fell in a broom, Brie, in his garage.
Yes. Well,
he
that's
didn't
debatable,
fall.
right?
Well, let's just say something happened. He was dancing with the broom.
Right.
Yeah. That's accurate, yeah.
Wow.
He was
Walker's
twerking
like,
on it.
Wow.
Oh, the images.
Yeah.
Brie is speechless.
So it's crazy.
Oh my god.
So I can't remember when I started listening. Can't remember where I found you, ladies, but I came across your podcast. I listened to one episode, and then I decided to go back and start from the beginning. And because I work nights, right? So I have 9 hours to spend listening to podcasts. So I started going through 4 or 5 a night, listening to all your podcasts and going through all the ER ones and going through the one with the tent and the deer and the lube. You have to listen to some of these stories, bro. It's I will tell you, I will give you the little sentence to suck you in, and then these ladies can, explain to you why there was a deer in a tent.
Wow.
Yeah, that one was, correct me if I'm wrong, Amber. This was Jamie's story, so I'm not sure if I'll get it right, but this couple was camping, and they came across a tent in the woods.
Yeah.
And there's more to the story, but long story short, they found that someone had been staying there with a dead deer head, and they were having a relationship with this deer.
No,
head.
it was the bottom half.
The bottom half.
Oh, it was the bottom half. Oh, okay.
Wow.
That's the lube.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh, so I got it wrong.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't say too much because my 3-year-old is next to me.
It's there was a tent and there was camping. And
Yeah.
It was really sweet.
It's a really nice reindeer.
it was a nice love story.
Big spoon, little spoon.
Yeah.
See,
Oh my goodness.
next one we have that I can remember is this really nice dude in a hitchhiking with a briefcase. And
Is that the one that ran into the woods?
yes, he had that look and he ran into the forest afterwards all crazy.
That was hilarious.
He was an alien hitchhiker, right?
Right.
It's hard when you've had it feels like we've told a billion
Yeah.
of these weird stories, and
For
it's
sure.
hard to pick them out sometimes.
These are just the ones
Yeah.
that stuck in my mind throughout the episodes.
And I
Okay,
think that
so-
one was one of Jamie's too. She
I think
seems
so,
to
too.
always find the ones that are crazy.
So, okay, you guys have heard of the Mandela effect, right?
Not until I heard
course.
your podcast, but yes.
No.
I never have. And when you started going through all the things that are different now than they were before, I'm like, what?
Well,
I mean,
did you hear
the Berenstain
Okay,
things
so-
was in the news, right? So, I mean, that was the
Right.
first I kind of heard of it, but
Yeah. Have you? Okay, so how do you guys remember? Because now one of them has switched back. I don't know if you're aware, but Fruit Loops has switched back. It was growing up. I remember it as FROOT
Right.
loops, right? Then for the last couple years, it's been FRUIT loops, and now it's back to FROOT.
see, when I got home in the morning that day, I ran to my pantry and looked up there at my kids' cereal, and we buy the crappy Walmart brand. So it's like Fruitios or like something
Yeah.
horrible. I'm like, oh, I can't even tell. But I was going through the cupboard looking at like my craft dinner or I was looking at all kinds of stuff, saying, man, do I remember this? And I didn't have any of the stuff that you had mentioned. I was like, the Berenstain Bears, I remember, but I don't remember which way I used to say it. So
I just remember always sitting and trying to figure out if it was Dean or Stein. Because
what
that
about you,
always
Brie?
was
You
the
got
thing.
kids?
I always just said Bernstein.
Not Epstein.
He did not kill himself.
Yeah,
Here
the
we go.
Epstein Bears would be a whole different thing. That wouldn't be good.
What about Fruit Loops, Brie? You have Fruit Loops in your house?
I buy cheap off-brand
same as here.
cereal,
Yeah.
and
cheap.
it's generally like a Cocoa Puffs or
Yeah.
a Cocoa Pebbles or like a cookie type cereal. It's never Fruit Loops because my kids don't like it.
Yeah.
So
Kids are so
I
picky when
think-
it comes to cereal.
I think subconsciously, though, now that I'm hearing this, I might have to go to the store and stock all of the cereal brands and figure out what is misspelled, and I will report at a later date.
Just get one of each. Get one of each, and then
Yeah.
10 years from now, you can just double check. Go to the store and
Just
see if
sort
they're
of-
all the same.
Throw it in a box and just be like, marketing scam.
Yeah.
Hang on a
Report 10
second.
years later.
What, Maya? I know. I turned it off after 4 hours. Yeah, it's on a timer.
This is the best part of the Naked Ladies podcast, Brie.
It's
Is
super
listening to
professional.
listening to the kids in the background. Yeah.
I have this visual anytime kids are like,
Okay, get out of here.
hi.
You need to go.
I always-
Respect the drip, Karen.
Okay, stop it. Get out of here.
Oh my god. The drip. Someone's
Respect the
doing the
drip.
Ric Flair
Okay,
drip.
get out of here.
Whoa.
We're recording.
Lucas.
Whoa.
Oh,
What's
I
happening?
think I hear Cat.
Well, I'm here. Can you
Boy,
hear me?
Are you driving?
Oh, Cat.
Yes, she doesn't have headphones.
Cat, you're
got-
going crazy.
I know. I'm sorry. Let me try and see. What if I do this? Is that better?
Nope. Same thing.
Maybe if I put it into a I should put my head in a bag. Maybe I should do that.
You might want to be careful there.
They're paper. Let me see. Is it really bad though? Is it a really bad echo? Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me
it's
go.
pretty bad.
Okay, I'm gonna go to my car.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Oh, they don't care. They don't listen.
Oh my god. You going to her car? I thought she was in her car already.
No, I'm in the store.
Oh, okay. Sounds very echoey in the store. Time to put some posters up.
Now I'm outside.
Nice.
Oh, that's better.
Oh, is this better? Stay outside. It's cold.
It's cold. It's not cold in Ontario.
Just the word cold makes my nipples hard.
Welcome, Kat, to the Dreadcast.
Thanks. Okay. All right. Okay, how's this?
Perfect.
Perfect.
Oh,
Good. Good. Okay.
okay. So this is indie podcasting.
Oh, echo.
Oh, I'm echoing like crazy.
It's a conspiracy.
Okay. No, I'm still echoing.
Oh my God.
Darn it.
Going from one person to the other.
Okay. No, I'm still going.
No, we're all echoing on Cats.
I was gonna say,
Oh.
Kat, try to mute and see if the echo goes away.
Because you guys sound fine to me. Hold on. Wait, why do I do this? Oh, no.
He hasn't mastered her phone yet.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all Kat's
I'm not
fault.
echoing anymore.
It's all perfect.
So-
Now you can't hear you. Solved.
Well, now I'm just going to sit here in silence.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Oh my gosh. Just gonna have to unmute every time she talks.
Oh, she's gonna get so passive aggressive now.
Hey, I already gave one person a heart attack today. I am ready for like 5 more.
Oh, we're gonna need to hear that story.
Oh my God. Did I tell you? So do you want me to tell you a story?
Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay, but if I'm not echoing too much.
No, you are. You're good.
As long as we don't talk
Okay.
over you, you'll be fine.
Okay. Good. So one of my bosses hates me, right? So I called my other boss's wife and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna give my 2 weeks notice because I'm like the general manager. And I'm like, I can't deal with this shit anymore. So he's standing outside and he's like, I'm giving him like death stares from the cash. I'm like, I hate you so much. And he fucking drops down on the ground and has like a seizure. And like they call like the ambulance. I'm like, what the fuck? But he's okay. I'm fine. We're all fine.
Wow.
Yeah. But see, don't be a jerk, because then,
Karma
No,
will
that's
get ya.
mean. That's mean. That's horrible. He didn't deserve that.
He didn't deserve to die.
No, not yet.
Oh my God.
No, but that was so messed up. What a crazy day.
I was going to invite you over here to podcast with me. You're in Ontario, but now that I hear that story, I'm kind of scared.
Yeah. Where in Ontario are you?
I'm just about an hour south of Toronto.
South. I'm in Hamilton.
I'm in Cambridge.
Oh, okay. So like 45 minutes away from me.
We'll mute that for all the listeners.
Yeah.
Stalker.
Yeah, you don't want anybody coming up here enjoying our snow.
No. We keep that to ourselves.
So I was just, I don't know, maybe you want to mute while I'm talking.
Kat, you might want to mute for us.
Okay, fine.
Well, that sucks, huh? I was just recounting all the awesome. Yeah, but you gotta mute every time we go to talk. Come on. I'm totally just kidding. Yeah, we were just recounting all the awesome stories that I've heard while listening to you ladies. The first, there was the deer tent. Second was the hitchhiking alien. And then the last one was the 911 call from last week with that guy smiling through the window, which creeped me out.
Oh, that one was like a creepypasta.
Yeah, he was like looking through the window while the person was on the 911 call, and then all of a sudden he had his face right up against the window, and I was like, ugh. Creeped me out.
That creeped me out too. It's so weird how it's a story and you can like see it happening.
Well, yeah, because
You know?
like, well, I don't know about you, but like when I listen to podcasts, especially yours, like it's all in my head, right? So I'm just sitting there picturing like all these stories that you guys are recounting.
The first story I told that was a creepypasta about the guy that was like running down the sidewalk.
Yeah.
That one still sticks with me.
Oh, the guy that was like following
that was
the
like
person?
a big smile. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was super creepy.
Ooh, what's with all these smiling people being so creepy?
I know. Be depressed.
Oh, I
You're
feel
like
so...
the Joker.
Joker.
Yeah.
I just imagine the big smile. Why so serious?
Oh, it's creepy.
Yeah, just a little.
I'm laughing.
Oh, I feel so bad you guys are muted. That's not fair.
I don't know what Kristen's doing. I think she ran away.
Oh, maybe.
Where she's trying to like wrangle her children.
No, I was peeing. Sorry.
I was gonna say, did I scare you? I'm sorry.
No, I
know
had to use the
blood.
bathroom. Yeah, it was an emergency. Too many gin and tonics in a row.
Ooh. Those catch up with me.
Yeah, they're good. So good.
Yeah, they go down so smooth.
Yeah. Last night we went to Applebee's and I got $1, people. Vodka and cranberries.
Oh, I love vodka cranberry.
It's amazing. It was like being back in high school.
just a little hint here. Make it a vodka cranberry, have a little orange juice floater on top. Oh, just a little splash. So good.
Okay, I made a note of it.
Ew. I don't want nothing floating on the top of my drinks.
Well, I mean, or if you have a screwdriver, have a little cranberry juice in with it.
Oh yeah.
So good.
No,
So good.
particularly a fan of
Speaking of
cranberries.
screwdrivers, this totally like derailed me here. Speaking of booze, so when we were on our cruise in Hawaii, we had Hawaiian mimosas, which were I think like a guava and pineapple juice, and then it was the champagne. Oh my Lanta, they went down so smooth. I had a migraine the next day.
Oh, sounds good.
But they were so good. I think that's going to be like my Christmas morning brunch drink of choice this year, though. They were so good. I will deal with the repercussions the next morning.
Hey kids, would you like hot cocoa or mimosas for breakfast? I'll take one of each, please.
I don't know. I might spike Bailey's in my hot cocoa this year.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Do like an Irish cream or a mint?
Anything.
Anything that's stiffer than normal drinks.
Right.
Exactly.
Should we talk about some conspiracy theories or something?
Yes,
Please
Bree,
do.
Something
Bree, did
crazy?
you look something up? Something creepy or crazy?
Yeah.
Me?
Anybody?
Yeah. I actually I think we should see if Kat has anything to share so that she doesn't have to just sit on mute.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm gonna go get my sweater because I'm cold, so I'll be right back.
Okay.
I didn't think to get my sweater to go sit in the car.
It's Canada, man. It's cold out. What are you doing? Just sit in the car. Can't you go home?
Turn the car on. Turn the heater on.
I think she's gone.
Gas, hello. Expensive.
Touche.
There's Kat. Always talking back.
Whoa, now you got 3/4 sass.
I think I need to up my game as far as the sass goes. God damn.
That's
Oh,
what
for
we're
sure.
missing on the Dreadcast is sass.
I mean, get Jamie on here. Jamie will she'll just destroy you. Destroy you.
Should I just pull my pants down around my ankles now and bend over?
Yeah.
Okay.
This podcast is totally going off the rails.
It's off the rails 2.0.
This is going to be like a multi-part episode.
Who's got a small, tiny, creepy story before she gets back?
No,
I
I
do.
have no story. I'm
Oh,
in my car. I got my
she's-
sweater. I'm
she's
all
back.
good, but I have no story.
Oh,
I didn't think I was gonna make it. I was like, oh, I'm at work. I'm not gonna be able to do it. And then, so I manage the restaurant, but the guys are still cleaning in the kitchen, and my front of house staff is gone. So I'm like, well, now I'll just sit in the car and stare at them.
Nice.
And then I'll just listen to you guys, and I'll just laugh silently.
Did you tell them that if they mess with you, you'll kill them?
Yes.
was that meant for us or the kitchen staff?
That was for everyone. Everyone in the world.
Fair enough.
I am all powerful.
What have we gotten ourselves into here, Brie?
Oh, Lord.
Okay, I'll mute so you guys can talk.
Okay.
All right, who's got something creepy?
I do.
Rot-row.
Okay, this is actually like real world creepy, so I'm sorry about that. This is true. This is not a conspiracy theory, but this is pretty goddamn terrifying. This is from a report by the U.S. Department of Defense. This is about accidents involving U.S. nuclear weapons between 1950 and 1980. So, just a little light entertainment for everybody.
Nuclear weapons are always light.
Dun,
Now-
dun, dun.
This report was, excuse me. I know that when I laugh, I sound like I have mesothelioma, but I do not.
I almost spit out my drink there. I was pretty close.
It's just honestly like bad lungs. Okay.
Well, now
I
you
swear.
just ruined it because now every time you laugh, I'm gonna think of that.
No, it
I'm gonna
sounds
be,
like it,
I'm gonna be
doesn't it?
scared to take my drink.
So these were released between 1977 and 1980. And the report makes sure to clarify that there has never even been a partial inadvertent U.S. nuclear detonation, despite the severe stresses imposed upon the weapons involved in these accidents. All quote-unquote detonations reported in the summaries involved conventional high explosives only. The only two accidents, those at Palmaris and Thule, resulted in a widespread dispersal of nuclear materials. Only two, so it's fine.
We're good.
Yeah. So, most of these are things like, some of these. Okay, blah blah blah. Sorry. Okay, so an accident involving nuclear weapons is defined by the U.S. government as an unexpected event involving nuclear weapons or nuclear weapons components that results in any of the following: accidental or unauthorized launching, firing, or use by U.S. forces or supported Allied forces of a nuclear-capable weapon system, which could create the risk of an outbreak of war. Sorry. Nuclear detonation, non-nuclear detonation, or burning of a nuclear weapon, radioactive weapon component, radioactive contamination, seizure, theft, or loss of a nuclear weapon or radioactive nuclear weapon component, including jettisoning, or public hazard, actual or implied.
Wow.
So, some of these are like planes crashed and they had nukes on them. Whatever, who cares, right? No one cares about that. There's one that, in 1950, July 13th, outside of Lebanon, Ohio, a B-50 was on a training mission from Briggs Air Force Base, Texas. The aircraft was flying at 7,000 feet on a clear day. Aircraft nosed down and flew into the ground, killing 4 officers and 12 airmen. The high explosive portion of the weapon detonated on impact. There was no nuclear capsule aboard the craft. There are others where a plane disappears and it has a bunch of nukes on it and they still haven't found it. No problem. doesn't really matter.
Where did it go?
Wow.
No one knows.
Oh.
It's just gone. You have to laugh about it. Otherwise, it's too scary. It's
Do you
too
think
scary.
do you think it's really gone, or no one pretending?
I don't know. Someone probably, sold it or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like all those weapons of mass destruction are all gone.
They're just gone. So there are all kinds of things. So there was actually one that was in 1980 called the Damascus accident. It was involving a Titan II intercontinental ballistic missile. This happened on September 18th to 19th, 1980, at Missile Complex 374-7 in rural Arkansas, when an Air Force LGM-25C Titan II intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM, loaded with a 9-megaton nuclear warhead, had a liquid fuel explosion inside its solo. Launch Complex 374-7 was located in Van Buren County farmland south of Damascus and about 50 miles north of Little Rock. But it was fine. It was just like a tiny explosion.
That sounds like a lot of megatons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it does to me, but I'm not like a nuclear person. Maybe 50 what? 50 megatons?
Wow.
Nuclear tons? Megatons.
Nuclear tons? Yeah.
3.4 nuclear tons. We've created a new imperial system. That's how we say it in Canada. That's how we say it in Canada. Nuclear tons.
There we go.
That's a Canadian form of measurement for nuclears.
Yeah.
Nuclears.
Instead of megatons, it's nuclear tons.
Yeah.
Right up there with the kilometers.
Yeah. I like it.
That one was for you, Kat.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. I'm crying here.
So in 1956, a B-47 aircraft with no weapons aboard was on a routine training mission, making a touch-and-go landing when the aircraft suddenly went out of control and slid off the runway, crashing into a storage igloo containing several nuclear weapons. Oops. The bombs did not burn or detonate. There were no contamination or cleanup problems. The damaged weapons and components were returned to the Atomic Energy Commission. The weapons that were involved in storage were in storage configuration. No capsules of nuclear materials were in the weapons or present in the building. But, it just shows you, we're on... Our existence is so tenuous when we have dumbasses who are working with our nuclear weapons, which are, a lot of people.
Why do we entrust things to so stupid of people?
We entrust things to people. Do you want me to get into it? The U.S. government relies on poor people of all kinds to be in the military because our colleges are so expensive. So they give them free college and healthcare and housing. And then people are not properly trained and supervised. And we are just big assholes with so many weapons all over the world, and all over the U.S. And we're just the big bullies.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, I think
we really are.
Bully is the jackass in the White House, right? I mean, he's the commander-in-chief. Mm-hmm. And he's probably got a Tic Tac Cheeto down there, so.
Tic Tac. Get ready to be on the watch list.
Hey, if you talk to these ladies, they'll put you on the NSA watch list.
You know what? The more we look into our demographics of where our listeners are, they're either in this small place in California where Facebook and Apple and all these tech companies have their headquarters, or Arlington, Virginia. We have a ton of people in Arlington, Virginia.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how many people will watch you from the FBI headquarters?
So I'm just gonna travel for a work trip next month to San Jose, and I'm gonna be like, TSA's gonna be like, hey, nope, you're not flying because NSA has told us this.
All of a sudden,
like,
she's
what?
flagged from flying.
I
Sorry.
have a work trip.
No more vacations for you.
I'm just gonna go to Phoenix in March. Like, come on now. I can't go.
Well, I don't know. I mean, like I drove past the NSA headquarters last year,
They
and
didn't wave at
no,
They have a sniper on the top roof.
no,
Like,
they had. You know what's freaking creepy about that place? They have this driveway that leads up to the building, and like you're driving on the highway, and you can see there's like a guard booth. But when we were driving to and from, both times, there were like these big black SUVs blocking the entry and the exit. And I was like, get out of here as fast as we can.
Wow.
What if you just wanted to
That's not
visit?
creepy.
I don't think you're allowed to visit the NSA.
Ah.
No.
Wah, wah,
You just showed them all your ID and said, hey, I'm from the Naked Ladies. Come on, you know me. Please proceed.
Cue violins.
Right. But I just want to come in and see. Oh my God.
say hi.
I just came across the story from a couple months ago where the lady showed up at the FBI and she said she wanted to talk to Agent Penis.
Oh my God. I remember
was a
that
good
one.
one.
Oh my God. The memories.
Oh my gosh.
She got arrested.
You should have downloaded
Oh.
every single episode of the Naked Ladies while you were on holidays, and you would have had yourself a good time.
I should have. And I know where the next week of my life is going out this point. Fuck Lucifer.
Hey, and don't you dare give them a 1-star review either, because they will read you on the air.
Oh, we will.
So I was on iTunes looking for reviews, and of course I don't have any, but I was looking at your reviews because I left you, and I'm like, I wonder if they realize there's reviews left from other countries.
Other countries?
Oh.
Yeah, do you only
you
check
talking
the
about
reviews
the-
from US?
What? I have
Oh, look
no
at your
idea
mind
what
is
you're talking
blown.
about.
You have a whole series of reviews you don't even know about.
Yeah, what are they? What are they like?
One Canada, it's only mine, so I wouldn't worry about that.
I was gonna say, are they like? We'll send you a picture of our junk.
Oh my
You send us
I
a
was going to
picture.
say, we have a review on Facebook from somebody's
Somebody's junk?
in between region, yes.
Oh my
Yes.
God, really? On Facebook?
Yeah.
I thought that was a
It's like
Twitter thing.
No, it's our recommendation.
What?
It comes
Yeah,
up.
that's right. And we can't get rid of it because it's like a review.
What?
It says
Can't delete
something
it?
like,
I'm
"No,
going to
you
send it to you guys.
Oh,
Yeah, it's just-
great. You can review us with somebody's junk. Awesome.
no." People
Wow.
people like our friends will be like, "Do you know that's there?" And we're like, "Yeah, we can't do anything about it. Please review us." So it'll push that one down to the bottom.
Oh my God.
But it's it's like a 5-star review. What are we gonna do?
Oh, well, you don't want to get rid of 5-star reviews.
Nah, we gotta keep it. We don't
Yeah,
have
you
that many.
You got to take the good with the bad.
We're broke as fuck. Let's keep this one. Why not? 5 stars. It'll detour them a little bit.
I mean, they like us, right? So
So I was on.
what can you do?
I was on iTunes and I was like, okay, where's all these 1-star reviews they're talking about? I was want to read some of these funny ones, but it only showed mine. And then I realized you have to switch it to the States because I was currently on Canada. So I guess they sort them by country. So you could have
fascinating.
You could have like reviews in some other countries you don't even know about.
Okay, we're gonna have to investigate.
You'll have to
now.
look into that and
Yeah.
keep us posted. You could have all kinds of crazy reviews out there.
Yeah. Do you guys ever post links in your show notes?
Just
Yes.
to our Twitch and our YouTube, and not to our
Okay.
sources or anything.
Okay. Well, you're gonna want everyone's gonna want to look at these nuclear weapons. This report. Because I want everyone to be as terrified as I am. So I'm going to share the link in a bit once other people are talking and sharing their stories.
All right, we'll have the yeah.
Sorry, that came across like way bitchier than I meant it to.
Yes, Bob.
Breed. I'm just gonna drink more booze. Well, there we go.
Queen's just
hide in
over
a
there
corner.
enjoying herself.
I just I didn't mean for it to come out like that. Want someone else?
So
I'm dying.
so normally, like, me and Brie are both streamers on Twitch, right? We play video games and stream, and so we have all our links up there for Twitch and stuff, and we'll have all the links
that's right.
for you guys up there on your podcast and all that stuff.
Okay,
People
awesome.
can find you guys.
That's great.
All right, Brie.
That's perfect.
Are you all done your nuclear creepy story?
Yeah,
Scaring
I
us with all your megatons.
I don't want to talk anymore about it. It's too stupid and crazy.
I'm just over here sipping my adult beverage, and
Okay.
I keep repeating "wow."
It's American in a nutshell. Wow.
Can I just say "fuck you, Dread"?
Whoa, hey. I might take that the wrong way. Chill out there.
With all the love that I have.
I love me some Americans. Don't even go there.
I love me some Canadians, so there you go. Cheers.
I love your KFC.
Screw KFC.
Hey.
I cannot do KFC. I can't.
We have other stuff up here in Canada. Jeez, don't listen to the last episode. You'll really be on the KFC kick.
We had a big discussion about KFC.
I can't.
Specifically because apparently, Brie, did you know this? That a meal at KFC in Canada for your family is $52. Kat told us this.
What the fuck? I literally, like, the last 3 times I've been there, which at this point now it's been at least 10 years, but the last few times that I've been to KFC, I've always gotten food poisoning, so I just refuse to eat KFC.
Oh.
So, yeah.
So, like, 6 years ago, my wife was pregnant with our oldest, and we went there, and she ordered chicken tenders like she normally does. And we got out to the car, and we were eating them in the parking lot like, losers. And she literally bit in. She was pregnant at the time. She bit into one, and it was freezing. We looked inside, and it was blue inside, raw.
No!
And she was pregnant. I went into that place, and I was pissed. I threw these things across the counter. I was like, my wife's in the car, and she's pregnant. How dare you? The guy's like, you want me to make you some more? I'm like, no, I don't want no more. We left.
I want my money back.
I was so pissed.
Oh.
And she has never, ever wanted to go back there since.
Yeah.
Wow.
I would never
Janina
ever
wouldn't blame
go back
her.
either.
So.
I'm sorry, KFC, but #fail.
Hey, did you know the KFC logo has the guy's wearing a red tie?
What?
That's only gonna matter for you guys. QueenBrie's gonna be like, red tie? What's that mean?
I'm very puzzled over here at the moment, and I'm thinking, what the fuck?
So apparently red ties are like the way to strangle people and cover it up. Am I correct?
So Epstein.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
So maybe KFC's behind all these.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just like choking chicken.
Cat with the zingers. Zing.
I have a lot of time to think.
She's just pondering her next one-liners over there. Just getting them ready for us.
Oh my goodness.
All right, Brie, you're up. What's your story?
I don't have one.
Well, you told me you had lots of stories. What do you mean you don't have one?
Oh my gosh.
Make one up.
Make one up.
Yeah, no one's gonna know. Just do it.
Tell us about that creepy alien you met in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. No.
I'm just buying time so I don't have to get into mine and all my notes.
You just do yours, boo. Don't sigh at me. You're not American.
Alright. Let's get into my conspiracy theory story. That's like 90% story and 10% conspiracy. Alright. So my story...
I'm not prepared tonight.
You won't be for this story. It gets weird by the end, trust me. So just hang in there till the last couple sentences and you'll be like, ooh, that is creepy. Okay. So the story... This is a story of Canadian... Okay, so if you don't know, I watch wrestling, so let's get that out of the way. So this is the story of Canadian professional wrestler Chris Benoit. So Kat probably knows this person because she's Canadian.
I do know him. I do.
Okay, perfect. So, so it's a story of
Rude.
Chris Benoit. He's
I know who he is too, and I'm American.
Oh, do you? Okay. Well, I don't know how many people watch wrestling. Come on.
I did.
Okay. So Chris Benoit, born 1967 in Edmonton, wrestled all over the world, Japan, Mexico, America, became one of the top 5 workers in the world, and eventually went on to main event a WrestleMania for the WWE, which is the biggest company in the world. So the first note here is he came to WCW, which is a different promotion, in 1992, teaming up with fellow Canadian wrestler Biff Wellington.
Beef.
So he also goes by Beef Wellington. So, yeah.
Wow.
So we'll remember that name for later because that one will come up. So that was back in 92. So the story starts here. So in 1995, he was working for WCW. Okay, I'm only one drink in here. What's going on? He was working
up.
He was working for WCW still, and he started an on-screen feud with a man named Kevin Sullivan. It's a very important name. Who was so this person, Kevin Sullivan, he was also the guy behind the scenes booking the matches, saying who was going to fight who, the angles, who's going to win. And but he was also an on-screen wrestler, so he was starting a feud with Chris Benoit. So the two were feuding, and the feud led to Sullivan booking himself in a feud where Benoit would have an affair with Sullivan's real-life wife, called Nancy. So Chris Benoit and Nancy were forced to spend time together to make the affair look real. So in public, they were forced or told to hold hands in public, share hotel rooms, to make it look believable for the camera, right?
Oh.
So back in the 90s, it was wrestling. People took wrestling pretty seriously. So, like, if you were a heel and a bad guy on screen, then you were a dick to fans in real life, right? You're not out there, like, doing charities and stuff like they do these days.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, this on-screen relationship developed into a real-life affair. And as a result, Sullivan and Benoit started having, pretty tumultuous backstage relationship because of this. Sullivan blamed Benoit for ending his marriage. And this led to a match where Benoit beat Sullivan in a retirement match. And then Sullivan went on to just do backstage stuff. But even though he blamed Benoit, he was still pretty professional. But he blamed him for breaking up his marriage in real life. So a couple years later, Benoit goes to the WWE, which used to be the WWF. And he becomes very well known there. And like I said, went on to main event WrestleMania in March 2004 in his hometown. In June 2007, he wrestled his last match. And then the following weekend, he had house shows to go to. But he called in to the WWE saying his wife and son were vomiting blood due to food poisoning. He missed the pay-per-view, and fans were told it was just due to a family emergency. So at the time, Benoit became good friends with fellow wrestler Eddie Guerrero, who also died in 2005. Benoit had written diaries just 10 days after Guerrero's passing, and this content of the diaries became precognition of Benoit's own demise. So here's where the event started taking place. So on June 25th, 2007, this was just the weekend of the days that he missed when he called in. Police Police entered Benoit's home in Fayetteville, Georgia, after the WWE requested that he was checked on because he had missed the shows and he had not given any notice in a couple days. So the police entered the home to discover the bodies of Benoit, his wife Nancy, and their 7-year-old son Daniel at 2:30 p.m. No additional suspects were sought. It was determined that Benoit committed the murders over a 3-day period. He had killed his wife and his son before committing suicide. He had bound his wife and killed her. He had drugged his son with Xanax, so he was sedated, and strangled him. He then hanged himself on some exercise machine. Bibles were also found near the bodies of his son and his wife, maybe to show remorse or something, but none near Chris. So Chris and both Nancy and Danielle all had sedatives in their bodies, found in the toxology report. So even Chris had some in there. And even though there were empty beer cans laying around the house, Chris had no alcohol in his system at the tox screen. So, after his death, tests were conducted on his brain, showing his brain was so damaged, because he was a wrestler for, probably like years and years. His brain was so damaged it resembled the brain of an 85-year-old Alzheimer's patient. He was reported to have a form of dementia from repeated concussions, which can contribute to severe behavior problems. So after the WWE learned of the stuff that happened, so as soon as they learned of the the deaths, they had a tribute show the next night on Monday Night Raw, and all about Chris and the life he led and how awesome he was and wrestler he was. But at that time, they only knew about the deaths. They didn't know he committed them. So then the following day, news came out that, he was the one who committed these murders. So then they removed all mentions of him from their website, their network, and they never talked about him ever again.
Whoa.
Okay, so here where it gets a little weirder. So during the weekend of the incident, about 3:30 p.m., fellow wrestler and friend Chavo Guerrero, which is the uncle of Eddie, Chris's friend, received a voicemail from Benoit's phone stating that he had overslept and would be late for the night's house show. Chavo called back and Benoit sounded tired and groggy, but confirmed the same things he said in the voicemail. Chavo seemed concerned about Benoit's tone, and he called back 15 minutes and got no answer. And so this is the weekend the incidents occurred. At 3:45 p.m., Benoit called Chavo back, saying he didn't previously answer the phone because he was on the phone with his airlines changing his flight. Chavo said, "Okay, I'm here if you need me," and Benoit ended the conversation with, "I love you, Chavo." So the first controversy and story starts by the night 14 hours before the police found the bodies. Do you know what a wiki page is?
Yes.
Right, so 14 hours before the police found the bodies and realized that his wife was dead, somebody had changed the wiki that previously read Benoit was not at the show due to personal reasons. They changed it to Benoit was not there due to personal reasons stemming from the death of his wife, Nancy. And that was on the wiki 14 hours before the police found the bodies.
Wow.
No.
So if you go back in, I guess, I don't know about wikis, but I guess if you go back in a wiki, you can see the history of when it was edited. And so they could clearly see that it was edited 14 hours before the police went into the house and found the bodies. So apparently the hacker who did this, he was traced to, his location was Stamford, Connecticut, which it just so happens is the headquarters of WWE. It's plot thickens, so it just so happens to be the exact headquarters of WWE, but the anonymous poster claimed it was a huge coincidence and nothing more. Police seized the computer but otherwise no charges were laid. That's a pretty big coincidence.
Yeah.
14 hours
Wow.
before you just so happen to post someone's wife dying and then the next day they're found dead. That doesn't seem quite right to me.
Whoa.
Okay, so the Biff Wellington we mentioned earlier, he tagged with Benoit in 92. His parents found his body in his home on June 24th, 2007, the exact same day that his former tag partner Chris Benoit was found dead. So
My God.
So they both found dead in their homes at the same day. Now, another girl, Sherry Martel, she was a manager for Kevin Sullivan, which is the guy that, Nancy was with, that Chris had the feud with. So she used to be his manager, and she was good friends with Benoit. She also died of unnatural, unknown causes 7 days before Benoit did.
Wow.
What?
So the plot thickens even more. A doctor by the name of Dr. Aston, who had been prescribing testosterone and other pills to Benoit, and apparently Sherry Martel, and he's been sentenced for 10 years for over-prescribing medicines. 3 of his patients have died, and 2 of them are Benoit and Sherry Martel. So this doctor had been over-prescribing people, and 2 people that he has been over-prescribing to are these 2 people that know each other, and both have a connection to this Kevin Sullivan.
Whoa.
So the main theory is that Kevin Sullivan, who's jealous of and mad at Chris Benoit for stealing his wife away, even though he was the one who, got him into this storyline. And, things are out there saying that Kevin Sullivan is a leader of a satanic cult, which none of this has been proven. He's denied on various podcasts. But, so that he's leader of the satanic cult, and that he's either hired people to commit the murders or did it himself. So now I have a couple facts here about the story. So, Chavo Guerrero, a close friend of Benoit, the one who called Chris the day of, on the Friday, he told the WWE magazine that he talked to Chris for a while on the Friday night, and after about 45 minutes on his conversation, Chris told him there was somebody at the door and he was going to see who it was. Shortly after Chris answered the door, there was a scuffle, and then his phone line went dead. Chris could only be reached on his cell phone 3 hours later. This is significant because it explains why there was no forced entry. Chris let the killer or killers in. So after Chavo reached Chris on his cell phone, he said that Chris sounded very odd, groggy, tired, and Chris told him, "I love you," which sounded forced. The WWE also said that when Chris called in to tell them that Nancy and Daniel were sick, he didn't sound like himself, he sounded groggy. And like I said before, all 3 of the people in the house had toxins in them, showing that they were sedated. So why would he sedate himself? If he went and killed his wife and son, why would he sedate himself, right? So Chris then said, "I love you," which they say was out of context to say to WWE. So, okay. So next thing. So Chris Benoit's cell phone is missing. Police couldn't find it. Chris was, there was a white cloth around Chris's neck. So if he committed suicide on this exercise machine, why would he care if there was any bruises on his neck? So why would he wear the white cloth? The medical examiner says that Chris Benoit died on the Saturday, but the text messages sent from his phone were sent on Sunday. Chris was already dead, so who sent the text messages? It is noted that nobody talked to Chris on Sunday, but yet Sunday morning, 2 texts were sent from Chris's cell phone, one saying "my address is," and giving his address, sent to Chavo. Another one sent saying "the dogs are in the pool, garage side door is open." And then a couple minutes later, 3 were sent from Nancy's cell phone saying where the address of their house was. And that was on the Sunday, apparently, after he was supposedly dead. So Chris sent Chavo the first text message telling him his address, but Chavo was at his house a week previous, so why would he need his address?
Mm-hmm.
Chris's body was badly decomposed, about the same as Nancy's, which is showing he died sooner than Sunday. And also, the toxicology report confirmed that Chris had painkillers and Xanax in his system. These two drugs combined will sedate Chris and make him very sleepy, so he could not fight back.
Wow. That's creepy.
Right, 2 more things here. The police originally said that Daniel died on Friday because his body was badly decomposing. This supports their belief that all 3 died on Friday night. The police changed the manner of Daniel's death 3 times. First, saying he died from a garbage bag. Second, he died from a chokehold. And third, he was smothered by a pillow. Why would they keep changing? The police kept changing the location of where Nancy's body was found. First, she was found in the downstairs family room. Second, she was found in the upstairs bedroom. And third, she was found in the office. Chris's father said Chris called him on Father's Day and told him that he wished he could spend more time with his family, but he had to work. One of Nancy's friends said that Nancy loved Chris and she had no plans to leave him, even though they had a rocky relationship. Weeks before he died, Chris Benoit said he began taking alternate routes to and from work. Chris and Nancy believed that somebody was following them. Chris' friends dismissed this, despite his paranoia. And that's what leads people to theorize that somebody else was involved. And the only people that people are pointing at is Kevin Sullivan. So, and that's my story.
Wow, that's crazy.
Those are too many notes.
My
Very
heart
crazy.
is... Yeah, like, my heart is racing. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, who killed him?
So it's pretty.
Right.
It's pretty well known or pretty established that it was just a murder-suicide. But
That's what I always thought.
Yeah,
it was.
exactly,
I never
but-
knew that second half of that. That's crazy.
Yeah, over the years, it's just you've always heard about this Kevin Sullivan guy, and the fact that his ex-wife was Nancy, and Chris married her, and then they had a kid together. So, people are just started theorizing that he was mad, and that's why he killed them all. But why? It was 10 years from when they got divorced to when the murders happened. So it's like, if you were mad, why would you wait 10 years to do it, right? But
That's crazy.
there just seems like a lot of weird stuff.
It kind of is reminiscent of like Brittany Murphy's death, where there was a lot of, like a lot of weird circumstances around how she died, the timeline, and all that stuff. And it's just like, it just makes you feel like you can't dismiss all the conspiracies because it's too weird.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, unless those things were made up, it's like, how could they possibly be true? It's so weird.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What does Wyatt think? She have a theory?
Nope. Yeah, about
No?
odd bods.
Okay. You never know. I mean, she can come up on it.
She's going to be so messed up from listening to our podcast.
Listen, my kids are fine, and I've been yelling at them about this stuff their whole life. So, it's not a
good to
problem
know.
at all. Yeah.
So what do you think, Kat, after being a fellow Canadian, what do you think of that story?
That was a crazy story. I can't say too much because
I know.
then I echo. I'm in the restaurant now because I'm waiting for the guys to finish up.
She was cold.
It was cold. It was cold out there.
I was just gonna tell her to mute herself. Mute yourself.
I muted because I was saying bye to one of the guys.
Poor girl.
I should have brought my headphones.
It's okay, Kat.
Thanks.
I know these podcasts just creep up on you.
Oh, are we all still here?
I think we're
Yeah.
okay.
I'm here.
Okay.
Just went pretty silent there for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, have you thought of a story yet, Brie?
So that's actually funny that you bring up Chris Benoit, because I was actually just reading something about Kurt Cobain, who is in my neck of the Seattle area. So the official theory is that his death was generally believed to have a result of suicide, and it might be explained by his health problems, addictions, and unhappiness with himself, his relationship with Courtney Love, and his band. The evidence for suicide includes his mental health, a suicide note that he had left, and the nature of his wounds, and the collection of guns that were left at the crime scene. From the Seattle PD, main idea is that he committed suicide, and it was also attempted by two of his bandmates, Chris Novelisk and Dave Grohl, which we all know Dave Grohl, and his father, Donald. And so the theory is that the big conspiracy theory, I'm stuttering because I've had 3 drinks. The theory is that it's from Tom Grant, found that Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love were planning a divorce, and there was some unhappiness. And so Kurt Cobain wanted to cut Courtney basically out of the will, and Courtney was not happy about this. So she ended up, the theory is that she hired a hitman to render him with some sort of drug that would leave him comatose. That way she can go in and kill him. So there was an injection of heroin and shot him, and then possibly taking his money while she was at it. It is suggested that Seattle police had collaborated to cover up the true murderer. Claims that Love did it for money are common, and there is evidence that Cobain described her as obsessed with money, possibly as a joke. And we all know Courtney Love and her personality and how she is as a person, so we kind of think, oh, maybe this is true. There is, however, no evidence that she was short for money, and her band Hole was growing in popularity at the time. A week after Cobain's death, Hole's album Live Through This, recorded in October 1993, was taking a more commercial and tuneful direction than the earlier material, was released in excellent reviews, going on to sell 1.6 million copies. Alternative motives might be love or revenge, and enemies assume she was cold and calculating. So it sounds like from when she was recording material before his death, it was more, there was probably more anger behind it, or whatever the case may be. And then after his death, she became more lighthearted and excited and happy. So that kind of plays a part in this whole theory. Many fans of Cobain are extremely hostile towards Love, which has doubtless sustained their campaign to prove she killed him. Obsessive fans of Kurt Cobain have said that is possibly the case because they hate Courtney Love. And then there's also a negative reaction with oh my goodness, Yoko Ono, I think, since she began her partnership with John Lennon, and there's some commonalities behind that relationship. Cobain's ex-girlfriend, Mary Lou Lord, has accused Love of being a sociopath and a fake, failing to use her fame in humanitarian purposes, and spreading lies about Lord, including Lord killing Love's guinea pig. Love's actions were criticized following Cobain's death, usually laden with sexism. Arguments consisted of slut-shaming, claims that Cobain had secretly written her songs denied by Love's bandmates and sound engineers, and disapproval that she went forward with her tour that was scheduled before Cobain's death instead of staying home and grieving. This is not evidence of murder, but there was more of the misogynic bullshit and some of the poisons that kind of manipulated all of this. There's a bunch of theorists behind this too. Richard Lee, Tom Grant, Nick Bloomfield, Hank Harrison. There's just a bunch of other doubters. So, in evidence, Kurt Cobain had taken heroin slightly within 24 hours of killing himself, and there was drug paraphernalia next to his body. So they're thinking that the postmortem test, because there was evidence of heroin in his system, there was 1.52 milligrams per liter of blood. So that suggested that he was unable to hold the gun and pull the trigger. The gun was a long-barreled shotgun, and that typically suggests that it's harder to kill yourself, especially shoot yourself in the head.
Mm-hmm.
There are theories that the gun had been melted down. And
Melted down?
Yeah. Had been melted down as part of a conspiracy. Police released a series of photos in 2016. The misapprehension had been arisen because Love declared the intention of Cobain's other guns melted down when the suicide weapon remained with police. Apparently, police did not release this weapon or say what it was or indicate any sort of evidence. There was also a number of rolls of film taken by the police, which were not released until long after the death. And note by Kurt Cobain was not released until 2014. The information kind of just fueled all these conspiracy theories. Tom Grant claimed the Seattle police either botched the investigation or deliberately lied to cover up the true culprit. Now, the suicide note asserted either that Cobain did not write the note or he did not refer to suicide. But Cobain's plans either to leave Courtney or Nirvana kind of put everything on hiatus. According to a latter theory, Cobain only wrote part of the note. The last 4 lines are written much less neatly, so possibly the drugs are in his system and they're taking effect. They could have been written after he took some of the drugs just prior to his suicide. Tom Grant, leading proponent of murder theories, claims that he had found a handwritten practice sheet from Love's handbag, which shows that Love had been practicing faking Kurt Cobain's handwriting. Second note was released in 2014, sometimes incorrectly described as a suicide note. It contains criticisms purportedly by Cobain of Courtney, that he calls her a bitch and complains about her being obsessed with his money and fame. She really wanted to be in the limelight, apparently, and she was trying to grasp all of that. Love later slated that she had written the note, claim supported by 2 sources who examined the handwriting, including Love's sister Nicole John Carroll and a former employee of Kurt Cobain estate. And later comparisons of the writing samples lent support of that claim. And then in Cobain's will, private investigator Tom Grant claimed that Cobain's lawyer, Rosemary Carroll, told him that Cobain was planning to change his will to exclude Love. The part of plans to leave and divorce her. This could be motive of Love to murder him. However, Carroll has since refused to comment. So it is really hard to know what the truth is on either side. Claims that Courtney Love either lied about an earlier suicide attempt. So this is from March 1994. So this is 15 years ago. Kurt Cobain overdosed on Rhinopol in March 1994 and was hospitalized in Rome, Italy. At the time, Love said that Cobain had attempted suicide while a doctor had treated him, said that it did not look like suicide. This could have been an attempt by Love to promote the idea that Kurt Cobain was in fact suicidal. However, it is only circumstantial evidence at best. And this was right after Kurt had said, "Hey, I don't want to be with you anymore. This is what I feel is best with us, and I want us to separate." So it's kind of that whole against conspiracy that Love was feeling a little revengeful and wanted to do something to kind of plot that he was suicidal. Even crazier, outside the loop of everything, Love reportedly told Hollywood Inquirer in 2016 that Kurt Cobain was killed by the CIA because of his anti-establishment and political views. She claimed that for years she believed government surveillance had harried Cobain to suicide, and she had recently received CIA files proving his murder. There you go.
So, being a Seattle native, what do you think?
I
Do you think he
grew up
just
with
suicide?
I don't know what to believe at this point. Like, I have heard every side of the tale. I grew up listening to Nirvana and Kurt Cobain. I personally don't think Kurt Cobain killed himself.
Yeah.
So it really is hard to say. It really is.
How popular was Hole at the time? Like, wouldn't she have a ton of her own money at that time? Or were they not taking off as much?
So, if I remember correctly, Nirvana was really kind of just reaching their peak in the early 90s at this point. And Hole was really starting to just get themselves off the ground. So, Courtney was kind of trying to bask in that limelight that he had and to get some viewers of his in with her.
Yeah.
So I feel like in a way she was trying to pull that limelight and gain some of that reputation, try to gain some of, the money and the fame and try to pull that from him. And then she was trying to say, well, he's suicidal because probably in her mind, she's thinking, well, if Kurt's gone, his followers are going to come to me and I'll have all the money and fame.
Maybe they're thinking, they were all together. They were together. So if they're not with him, maybe they'll come to me. But
there's other evidence. This I'm not done yet.
Oh, sorry.
I'm kind of like skimming through this article as I'm reading all of this to you guys because I'm like baffled by it, and this is stuff that I didn't know about. So, so I guess he was found dead in a greenhouse, I believe, and they're saying that there's a possibility this door was locked from the outside, and he was on the inside. Okay, so that's number one. There was also an absence of fingerprints from the gun, a suicide note, or a pen. So they're saying that it could have been washed off or rubbed off somehow, or someone had possibly worn some gloves prior to concealing this crime scene. And then there's claims of Kurt Cobain's credit cards, which were allegedly used between his death and the discovery of his body. Which also suggests possibly robbery and murder.
That's weird.
Courtney Love was never sued. And she never even sued anybody else for claiming Kurt Cobain was murdered.
Was she a suspect at all?
I think so. But I don't think they really truly investigated her. Now, I'm not really one to have followed the story. I mean, I was 5, 6, maybe 7 when the story happened.
I forgot you were just baby.
Yeah, I'm a product of 88. So, and then why did Cobain get the gun? The private investigator, Tom Grant, claims that he was scared for his life. And although evidence for this is not strong, Cobain also had a number of guns in his home. And it would be unusual for a young man of a small town in Washington state to have interest in guns, which, okay, here are my 2 cents. I grew up in the state of Washington. I'm in a small town right outside the capital, and I'm a country girl. I bought my first gun when I was 21. I'm a concealed carry permit user. It's not hard. Pass a background check. You're good to go. So that right there kind of sways me to the fact that maybe he did kill himself. I don't know. But for me, looking at this story inward, it suggests more that Courtney Love maybe had something to do with it, whether it was a hitman or herself, whatever the case.
You fired a weapon before, so you know how hard it is to pull the trigger, correct?
Yes.
Now, how hard would it be to fire the trigger of a shotgun? I'm assuming it's not. I'm assuming it's not just you lay your finger on it and it automatically fires. There's some feedback there, right?
Yeah.
Some force is needed.
So, for you listening to me, so put your arms right in front of your face and clasp your hands. Stretch your arms out as far as you can. Between the tip of your fingers to the head to your face, there's maybe 1.5 feet. Right, well, we're talking about a long. Yeah, so we're talking about a long barrel shotgun.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to wrap my head around.
So that's going to be about 3 feet. So you're looking at twice the length. Unless it was a sawed-off shotgun, which there's no report saying that it was a sawed-off shotgun at all.
I could see a pistol or a sawed-off shotgun, but a long barreled and you did it yourself, that seems... I'm sure
Exactly.
it's possible if you rig something up, but man, that seems crazy.
And on top of it, they were saying that there were drugs in his system on top of it. So the level of drugs in his system when they found him was at 1.5 milligrams per liter, which is pretty high. So he was probably so out of it, he couldn't aim a gun at himself to begin with, let alone at somebody else. So that to me also says, hey, someone drugged him and killed him. Who it was, we don't know. That's just me.
So this is a story I know a lot about.
Please give details.
Details. Like, okay, so you know the song In Bloom?
Yes.
Okay, that song was written about the incident that in Italy, where he was in the bathroom. Yeah, so that's his rebuttal to everyone who said that it was suicide. Or he was trying to commit suicide. So the lyrics, he's the one who likes all our pretty songs. And that he's the one who likes all our pretty songs. And he likes to shoot his gun. And he likes to sing along. Because there were some kids that had tried to commit suicide after. So they were trying to blame him, saying that he got, like, he influenced these kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but his story was that Courtney was trying to kill him. So he was hiding in the hotel room in the bathroom. Yeah, so that's why he had a gun with him in the bathroom. Now she turned around and was telling the police that he was trying to kill himself. So yeah, that one was there. And then there's so much. Like that thing, I followed that so much. Because I think I was like 14 or 15 when he committed suicide. Mm-hmm. And I didn't actually become a fan until after. I liked music, but I wasn't a big fan of his. And then he wanted to become more of a pop band. So which is why In Utero was a lot more happy. He didn't like the depressing music. He listened to 80s like pop music.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the theory that like the record company was like, you need to continue on this like sad sort of life. And he didn't want to go in that direction. On top of that, he wrote... So Hole's first album, he wrote that whole album. So, wow. Yeah, so I think the fans at that time were starting to figure that out. That he was like the brainchild behind her. And that could have resulted in jealousy on her end. Is that there's so much. That friggin' case has so many layers that need to be peeled off. So,
What's your opinion?
That Courtney had him killed. Yeah. Like I don't think she did it, but I think she had. There was an old band member of hers that got clean and sober, and then she left the band. Now I can't remember if it was when she was in Hole. Like, if it was an old band member from when Hole first started, or if it was a band before that. But she was a drug addict and got clean, left the band, and then somehow, like, fell off the wagon, but, like, fell off the wagon hard. Like, wrote a letter to her family about how happy she was to start a new life and everything. But there was a theory that Courtney got pissed off and, like, injected her with a bunch of drugs because she was over the limit. Like, it was the same thing as Kurt. Like, she couldn't have given herself that much drugs because it was way beyond what, like, she would have passed out before being able to take the next amount. Does that make, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So it's kind of the same thing has happened before Kurt died.
She's like a serial offender.
Yeah, like she's a fucking psycho. So, yeah.
There's a documentary. I think it's on Blue. Bleach. And it's all about all the conspiracy around Kurt Cobain. But I've read that it's like partial to the fact that had him killed. So there's a lot of evidence. Her, you know.
Yeah. there was like it was her friend that he owed her money or something, and he like did it out of like owing her money.
Yeah. I remember that a little bit. It's been a while since I watched it, but
yeah, there's a lot of
pretty good.
Yeah, it is good. I haven't watched that, so I don't know why I'm saying it's good. I'm sure it is good. Okay, I'm all done work, so I'm gonna go home now, which means I have to like sign off.
All right. Thanks for joining us so much, Kat.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Mwah.
Okay, we'll do this again when I don't have to work.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, bye guys.
Bye.
Bye, Kat.
Bye, Kristen.
So, real quick, I actually had to Google some of this stuff about Kurt Cobain's suicide. And there's actually a photo about police detective Michael Stinsky. He's holding the Remington shotgun. So, if he puts the barrel of the shotgun on the floor and holds the butt up next to him, it's going to be up to his elbow. So, you figure about 3 to 3.5 feet. There is no way in hell he
too
could
big
have
that
put
somebody
this gun.
couldn't do it by themselves, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I remember hearing that he would have had to pull the trigger with his toe.
Right, like
His
you would
big
have had
toe.
to rig it up, yeah.
Yeah. Just seems suspicious.
It does.
Well, and that's what you hear about these deaths, like Kate Spade. She was she and there was another fashion designer. I can't remember her name now, but they both hung themselves from a doorknob with a red scarf. A couple, like a little while apart. A doorknob. Like, think about, you would have to like. That
So
just doesn't
low.
seem
You'd be
natural.
sitting on the ground.
You'd have to like lean forward. And excuse me, I was eating chips while I was muted, so I like just started choking a little bit. At least I didn't eat them while we were recording like I had done before.
No.
I do that all the time.
Yeah. One night, Amber was like, "What the hell is that sound?"
That was
Sorry,
a fapping, you eating chips.
No, it's much
Fapping.
louder. It's but then like David Carradine, when he died, he was hogtied, but he was found in a room that was locked from the outside. And somehow he managed to hang himself at the same time.
It's so weird how all this is pieced together. So I personally don't think he killed himself. I would like to think it was Courtney Love or she hired somebody else. And what that is, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. But when you start hearing about these different theories, the more you hear, it's like everything else. The more you hear about these different suicide conspiracy theories, the more the conspiracies start to make sense and the official story does not.
Right.
And then that's really fucking creepy when you start to really think about it, because that means that people in power or whatever decided that these lives need to be over. If that's true.
Exactly.
Scary.
It
And
is.
these are the type of episodes that we always end up like looking out the window at the darkness, like
Who's there?
Who's there?
Uh-oh.
Who's looking at me?
What have we done?
When I open.
Should we have talked about this tonight? Because this is creepy.
The rabbit holes are just insane when you start going down them.
Right.
No.
Yeah. Well, then, like, Mark Salling, he was on Glee, and he was, like, embroiled in the whole pedophile ring in Hollywood. He was, supposedly, he had just signed a deal, and he was going to name names. And what do you know? He shows up the next week, dead. Supposedly, he had hanged himself on this tiny little branch, and he had defensive wounds on his hands. Why would you have defensive wounds on your hands?
I'm kind of laughing at the shows up dead.
What?
Because you said he showed up dead, and now I'm like, you're laughing too. Wyatt's laughing too.
He just walked in the door.
Just dead.
Hey, how's it going?
Door opening
Dead.
just fell over.
It's like the cartoons. He had like the X's over his eyes.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, Mark's dead.
dead.
Crap."
I guess I didn't realize that he died. I knew the other guy died, that Corey Monteith.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And it was also, I don't know, whispered that what's his name, the guy who played Mr. Schuster on Glee, who's that guy?
Matthew
that he
Morrison.
was involved. Yeah, 'cause he's like BFFs with Bryan Singer, that producer, who's that creepy pedophile producer guy.
Yeah.
What? Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's a whole ring of
Wow.
celebrities that you have no clue about, Brie.
Yeah, it's insane.
Like George
Clearly.
Clooney. All these
What?
people.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
I'm pretty sure I've heard George Clooney's name come up a bunch.
I think I've had too much to drink at this point, and I'm just like, what in the fuck is happening tonight? My mind is blowing. Literally.
She's gonna wake up in the morning and she's gonna be like, what's going on here?
What's real? Did this really happen?
It is an actual mind fuck right now. I'm like, what the hell?
She's going to see Courtney Love at the end of her bed.
Oh,
Oh my god.
With a Remington shotgun.
Yeah.
as long as you
Oh
don't
my God.
as long as you don't wake up and there's a deer in your room, you're fine.
I know. Seriously, you guys, let's do this again and let's just talk about all the blind items with celebrity pedophiles.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god. It's like
Michael
a-
Jackson.
We're like, we could get into Oprah, David
Yeah.
Geffen.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
That
I'm
one
down.
was
I'm
messed
down.
up.
Okay.
Oh, man.
You're on a
dying.
list. You're
gonna
on
need a
Oprah's
lot of
list
drinks for
now
that
too,
one.
because I said Oprah.
You
You're on
get
all
a
the
story. You get a story. You get a story. Everyone gets a story.
They've now opened a file
Yeah.
on us.
Yeah, it's over.
God-
It's over.
God damn it. I work for the state, too. I'm screwed.
Yeah, sorry.
My supervisor, hey, so you're on this podcast. What is this about?
I know.
Oh no, she's one of them.
People are like, "Oh, you do a podcast? What's it called?" And I'm like, ugh, "I've got to run. I gotta go."
I had a polygraph and my fingerprints ran. I'm now on
Whoa.
the watch list. Fuck me.
That's serious.
Geez, you didn't tell me any. You didn't tell me any of that stuff before I hired you for the podcast.
I mean, I'm clean
Did you,
right now.
Did you just show up to spy on me or what?
I mean, unless you're in juvenile detention, I mean, I have nothing to do with you. And that sounds so bad. I sound like a pedophile. Oh my gosh. Woo!
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's
dread.
excellent.
Yeah, just a little. It's gonna make my Monday even better.
Do you have coworkers who listen?
I don't, because this is all fairly new. This is my 4th or 5th episode on the show.
Okay.
And it's kind of just now getting out there to some of my Twitch followers and such. And I think my supervisor, boss, principal person listens. She's like, "Hey, you're funny when you drink." And I'm like, "Yeah."
Hey, can imagine
Yeah.
if I went to work like that.
I actually have gone to work hungover. And it was actually last year. So the superintendent basically cut funding in the school district by $5 million, and my job was the first to be cut last year. Spokane School District was one of them. Seattle School District. Anyways, so my job was first to be cut, and so I went home on like a Wednesday or Thursday when we got the news, and I went to work the next day hungover, and I had to cover the front desk. So I was basically secretary for the day. And I was answering phones and dealing with parents and students. And my boss comes out of her office, which is like 10 feet away from the desk. And I look at her and I'm like, can you just sit here for 5 minutes? And she goes, what's wrong? I was like, I need to drop you in the pool. And I ran to the bathroom. And she obviously heard me because I came out a few moments later and she goes, are you hungover right now? And I was like, yes, I am. She goes, what's your poison? I said, I think it's vodka crayon. And she goes, okay, we're partying next time. I was like, okay. So, and like a week or two later, it was her birthday, and there's a nightclub down in downtown Olympia called Jake's. It's a gay bar. And she's like, hey, I need a DD. Do you want to be my DD? And I'm like, well, I don't want to be the DD, but I want to go hang out and drink. So, yeah.
No, stick me as no DD.
I got so shit-faced. I wasn't even... But my boss thinks I'm the life of the party, so it works.
Nice. It worked out.
It worked out. We had a DD. We were fine.
I'm only the DD when I'm sleeping.
Right. So yeah, it's great. Bree's the life of the party. And then every year we have graduation, and the staff always goes out after for dinner. And I'm the one usually that's like, I mean, there's a few of us, but I'm in that party where I'm like, yeah, we're going to live it up and party until 2 a.m. Yeah.
Do you have a lot of people that listen to your podcast, Kristen? Friends, family, coworkers?
My husband does, and my boss does, which sometimes makes me a little bit nervous because I'm like,
sorry, boss.
Sorry. But I did have some coworkers, but they've since left to do other things.
Yeah. Otherwise, they try to get away from you.
Yeah, I don't really talk to people about this because this is like the weirdest part of me. So
yeah.
It's secret that I only talk about on social media, but not like my private social media.
Like a fake one you created.
Yeah. Are you shushing my Wyatt?
Get it.
Sorry.
I get the secret social media stuff. I totally get it.
Like Twitter is where I can go to be myself, and Facebook is where I go to like be respectable a little bit more, but
right?
I'm still not respectable.
Amen,
So,
sister.
just give it up.
Amen.
Yeah. Yeah,
Twitter's
because
the
on
greatest.
Twitter I can be like a crazy socialist, like,
Yes.
you know, fuck the police, that kind of person. But
Donald Trump.
but on Facebook I have to like, because I have so many like associates from like different workplaces and, you know, like contacts from graduate school, blah blah blah. So I feel like I have to be like, it's exhausting.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. And there's actually, so like my personal life is a total shit show. So I'm actually in the middle of a separation, divorce. And so like my Facebook, I've actually recently changed my last name to my maiden name. And there's some people that are like, hey, what's like going on in your personal life? And I'm never really on Facebook anymore, except to post pictures of me on a beach in Hawaii and drinking vodka crayon and all this other shit. And I keep it pretty professional on Facebook. And then Twitter, I'm like, I feel like I'm living a double personality sometimes. And I should be Angelina Jolie in the movie Salt or something. But yeah, I totally 190% get you.
yeah. Someone, I was like applying to do something, and they were like, "What's your Twitter handle?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't think you want that."
Like, you can have
And
my
then you're-
Facebook name, but not my Twitter handle.
No.
And then you're like grabbing your neck. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
throat here.
You know that GIF like of Steve Carell from The Office where he's just like cringing?
Yes.
Yeah, that was me when I
Yes.
saw that. I was like,
Whoops.
let's pretend that doesn't exist.
What do you need over here, boss? What?
Mm-mm.
What's happening? What'd you say? Oh, okay, I got you. Hold on. Be with you in just a second. Thanks. Bye-bye. I'll get to you. I promise.
Yeah.
3 weeks later, it's like, oh, hey, I've been so busy. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I mean, it helps that my family doesn't really take me too seriously because I've done a lot of like shit in my life. So, you know, when I'm like, oh, I started a podcast, they're like, whatever. So, you know,
I know.
they're
right?
like, we don't care. We don't. There's another stupid MLM you want to get into? I'm like, no.
I work in a high school, and kids get word that I stream, and they're like, what? You stream? What games do you play? What are you playing right now? How long have you played? How much time have you put into this? I'm like, slow the fuck down.
Yeah.
Mind your business and get to your homework. Bye-bye.
Okay, like the worst day of my life was when my daughter told her friends and they all started listening. And I was like, oh my God, your friends are never going to be able to come over.
Awkward. They're all staring at you around the dinner table. That's the crazy lady. That's the one that tells all the creepy stories.
Okay.
No.
Is she there, Mom? Because I don't think she is. Can we not go over there?
We don't want to carpool with her. Come on.
I know. I'm like, don't tell your friends. Don't tell your friends' parents, especially. Yeah. You know.
Meanwhile,
hashtag life of a podcaster.
Right? Meanwhile, you're just in your corner drinking your drink, and you're like, yeah, I'm fine.
I'm fine. It's fine.
Screw
It's all
you
great.
all. I'm
Yeah.
great. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Do.
Well, I'm all out of stories. How are you guys doing?
I am for tonight. Jesus, we went like 2 hours, guys.
Yeah.
We did.
What's an average podcast for you guys?
Depends
I
on
don't
how
know, an
crazy
hour?
we get. Usually an hour, hour and a half.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's us too. That 15-minute mini-sode was like a real challenge for us.
I know, you guys were like, well, we're at the times almost. We're almost at the time. It's like you barely even get a chance to talk about anything in 15 minutes.
I know, it's true.
We're just doing introductions at that point.
Yeah.
So Brie doesn't know about the holiday thing, I don't think.
No.
Oh, yeah. There were a whole bunch of us that we all tagged. I think I tagged a whole bunch of podcasts, and then, yeah, it turned into this thing where we were all going to do an episode together. So that'll be coming out because you're editing that, right, Dread?
Right, yeah.
Okay, so that's going to be coming out in the next few weeks or month or something, whenever everyone gets their stuff in.
Yeah.
But everyone's doing like 15 minutes about the holidays, and then we're all going to release at the same time, and everybody's going to promote each other, which is going to be cool.
Oh, great idea.
Yeah, so we're going to edit them all together, so it's kind of like one big episode, right? That's why we're keeping everybody to 15 minutes.
Yeah. Which is a challenge. So we were calling it... Yeah, we were calling it the mini megasode. Because it's like...
Ooh, I love that.
So we'll have to record ours, Brie.
Okay.
Now that you're back.
Should I be buzzed
Oh.
or drunk?
Oh, whatever you prefer.
And how rated? And what should be my rating for this? Because that'll set the whole show.
Crazy.
Okay. You got it.
So we'll have something to do with holidays, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, so far I've only got yours and the coffee lady one.
Okay.
So
Awesome. Some more. It'll be great.
yeah, sounds good. So I guess that's pretty much it for tonight. Unless Amber's got a hidden story over there that she's hiding.
Nope, I'm just trying to keep Wyatt quiet.
As the UFOs buzz over our heads.
I know. You should let Wyatt talk us out for the naked ladies.
Wyatt, do you want to say hi? Said yeah. Can you say join us next week? Say it.
Make sure he does the full one.
Join us next week. We're going to talk about some stuff. You gotta say it. She's tired.
Yeah,
Kids are the
we all
greatest.
are. Yeah,
They are.
Last week I had a girl on. Her name was Caroline. So me and my son sang "Sweet Caroline," and hearing my
It
son
was so
sing that, it was
cute.
so cute.
Aw.
oh, that's adorable. Aw.
All right, so where can everybody find you guys and your podcast? On
Oh,
your Twitter
God.
and all that.
Okay, let's see if we can remember everything.
I listen
Okay.
on Spotify.
Yeah, we're on Spotify. We're on like pretty much every podcast platform that we know of. Our home is Anchor, so we're the Naked Ladies Podcast on Anchor. You can find us on Twitter at Naked Pod. You can find us on Instagram at Naked Ladies Podcast, and of course Facebook, The Great Beast, Naked Ladies Podcast. On there, we have a group and a page, and we have a Patreon and all that shit. So.
Guys got
Yeah.
merch?
We have some merch.
Dang.
Actually, drawn by Kat's husband, Mike. He's so talented. He has drawn some really great graphics of us.
Nice.
And yeah, so we put his stuff up and yeah.
Is he the
That's
one who
it.
did the Naked Rushmore?
Yep, he did us on Mount Rushmore, and most recently he did, because we did an episode on the Mandela effect,
Yeah.
and we talked about this verse where it talks about the fatling. So he drew a picture of us all chasing the fatling.
Oh my god, that
Which
was
was
so
great.
cute.
It's the best. He's like really, really good. Yeah.
Yeah, that picture was really
So-
good.
Mm-hmm. So we haven't made that into March yet, but that's on its way. Thanks so much for having us on. This is super fun.
No problem. Thank
This
you guys
was
for showing
a
up. It was
blast.
great. So like I
Sorry,
said,
I've been so
Definitely.
quiet. It's hard when you.
it's totally
You know.
understandable.
Oh my God. You guys have heard. I mean, like, if you've ever listened to us, you know that Maya appears at least one episode. Once an episode. And Olivia usually appears and says something about eating cheese. So it's not uncommon.
Jeez.
Yeah. That's
Yes.
my 14-year-old. She like is like a hobbit who lives in her room and occasionally comes out and talks about cheese.
Sounds like my 6-year-old is right on track.
Feels bad, man.
So
So I'll have all your links to your show and your Twitter in the podcast description below. People can check out.
that's awesome. Thanks so much.
No
Yeah,
problem.
thank
Thank you
you.
guys for coming on. And what about you, Brie?
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
All right, guys, you can find me on Twitch at QueenBrie with 2 E's at the end. And then you can find me on Twitter at QueenB Carvela, Karvela.
And if you want to send a comment or correction, if you have corrections for our awesome stories that we've probably did lots of background on, you can send an email to thedreadcast at hotmail.com. You can find us on Twitter at thedreadcast. And you can find myself on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube at DreadnoughtX. And that'll be it for tonight. And again, thank you ladies so much for coming back, for joining us. And yeah, welcome back, Brie.
Thanks so much.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.